is the hottest radio station.
Good afternoon. On the radio, on Tonic Star Radio today, we have Mark Foggo. How you doing, Mark?
I'm doing very well, thank you. It's great to be on the radio with you today.
I'd like to ask you a few questions regarding your life and everything that's gone on.
Yeah,
when was
that's great.
When was the band first formed?
Well, the band Mark Foggo Scarsters was formed in 1987. And that's when we went to work and we created the Scar Pig album, which came out in, I think, if I remember, 1989.
Okay. So it was where was you first formed? Amsterdam or?
Yeah, well, in Holland, but we came from all different parts of Holland. We all came together. I was already working in Holland since 1979, playing ska, but I had a different lineup. It was called Mark Foggo and the Secret Meeting, and it was a bit partly punk and partly ska. And then I decided that I was going to do a complete ska album, and that was in 1987, and that's when I put together the Scarsters.
So obviously you was obviously born and bred in the UK, obviously Liverpool.
That's right. Yeah.
What made you move to Amsterdam, or was it parents, or?
No. I've been playing music. I lived in London when I left school. I moved to London, and I lived in London for a long time, and I played in various punk lineups. And one of the bands I've been playing with, the drummer had moved to Holland. He was offered a job with a band in Holland, and when he got there, a few months later, he contacted me. And he said to me, would I like to come out there and have a look, because he said the music scene was really good out there and he was having a lot of fun. So I says, well, okay, I'll book a trip, and I went out there for about 3 weeks and stayed 30 years.
So obviously in the early stages, obviously of ska, obviously I know you mentioned punk and all that, but what bands influenced you to obviously become a ska artist eventually?
I guess it was the beginning of the two-tone. I mean, I was always playing the Desmond Decker and stuff, and the singles that I knew and all that from that time. But it was it was about 1970, the end of the 70s.
Yep.
I think it was when it was the sort of lift off of when ska was becoming popular, and I was listening to it. And I've been playing punk for about 10 years up to that point, nearly 10 years.
Who influenced you to become like obviously punk and all that? Because obviously ska is obviously completely different to obviously punk. But why did you go to punk scene? Who sort of influenced you?
Well, I went to see a few bands because I was living in London, around Chelsea, the Sex Pistols, of course.
Yeah.
I think I was a big fan of the Clash. It was all this kind of scene, the Jam. I loved the Jam too. So it's all that kind of punk new wave scene at that time.
Okay. Obviously now I know obviously you live in Thailand.
Yeah.
Obviously part semi-retired. Well done.
Yeah, well. Yeah.
What made you move to Thailand?
Well, basically, I've been coming to Thailand for quite a few years as a holiday, as a tourist, coming backwards and forwards. And so after a while, I thought, well, I had to move out of the UK. I was living in Folkestone in the UK. That's the last place I was living, actually. And I lost my apartment. I had a real nice apartment by the sea, and I had to move out. And then I thought, okay, I'll have to go and look for another apartment. And then I thought, no, I'm not going to do that. And I didn't really want to move back to Holland, which is where I've been living for years. And then I thought, well, it's time for a change, I think I'm going to change the way I work. Instead of working 12 months of the year, all year round, I'm going to start working a bit in sort of, more bringing the gigs together and sort of say I'm going to work like March, April, May, and then I'm going to not work for a couple of months. And then I thought, well, then it'd give me the opportunity to go and live somewhere nice, you know, somewhere in the sun. So I thought, well, Thailand's a nice place, and I knew it very well. So I made a few trips to Thailand, met up a few people, and eventually, about 2 years ago, I moved here.
Nice. So who's out of the band? Obviously you've had a few members over the years. Who's your longest serving? Is it Paul, the sax player, still?
That's right, Paul Birding, the sax player. Yeah, he's been with me nearly 30 years.
Wow. Oh, that's some commitment.
Yeah, it's very, very long. And also the drummer, he's been with me since the Scar Pig album, which is from 89, 99, also 30 years, yeah. So, in fact, Paul's been longer than, I think Paul probably 35 years, and the drummer about 30 years, George. So, yeah, we've got some long-serving members, yeah.
Brilliant. So how many albums would you say over the years have you released?
Well, we've released 15, 11 original music albums and 4 live albums.
They're all available. I've seen they're all available mainly on Spotify or iTunes or something like that.
I think you can. Yeah, I think you can hear nearly everything on Spotify. Yeah, I think so.
Obviously, the early days when you used to do the punk stuff, are they still available?
No, I didn't really do much recording in that time. I was playing in pretty bad bands.
In dim condition.
We weren't invited to the studio.
Oh, right, okay.
There are a couple of demos around, and there's a couple of things, but we never went in and recorded an album. And I think I played with about 6 different bands. We just well, the story is that we used to play around the London pub circuit, and we play around it. And when we finished playing around it one time, we had to change our name so as we could go and play around it again. So you know, we sort of never made a lot of progress. It was a lot of fun, but you know, it was a bit of a struggle.
So obviously back in 2010 you signed up with a record label, what they call V2 Records.
Oh yeah, V2 Records, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Who are you under at the moment then, or are you still with them?
Well, I made the last album independently on my own cost, and then I put it out to release it through Jump Up Records. Jump Up in Chicago, USA.
So who currently writes the songs?
I write
you yourself, them. Are you write them, or any other the band members have an influence in them?
No, well, yeah, they all have influence. Yeah, what I do is I mean, the last album I wrote in Thailand, the Scar Pig Returns album, I wrote it all here where I'm living now in Hua Hin in Thailand. I make demos here. I sing the demos. I play all the parts up to my ability, you know, which is limited. And then I send the demos out to the band and say, well, here's the song. Pick your own influences and see how that works out. And then we work it out together, and till it comes, you know, to the way we all like the sound of it. And in the studio I make it. And this last album we did very fast because I wrote the album in about I think in about 12 weeks or something. I wrote the whole album sitting here, and I sent it out, and we were in the studio just about 2 months later, and we were, I think, just about 15 days with mixing, about 15 days in the studio, and the whole thing was done. So we worked very quick.
So the song Shake or Shah, who came up with the lyrics, and obviously what's the song about, etc, etc?
Well, yeah, actually that's funny you picked that song, because that's the song that's the hardest for me to explain, because it's not directly about anything. It's based on, I was just reading stuff about Iran, you know, and what was going on there and sort of things, and I thought, well, yeah, it's such a strange story with all the, you know.
So I was going to say, I'll pick another song then. So the other song, the Dum Diddy Die, obviously what one's, obviously what?
Oh, no, that's an
interesting in the lyrics behind that.
Being as I'm living in Thailand and don't speak the language here, I listen to it a lot, I hear a lot of it, but I don't understand very much of it. So when I made the demo, I had to just sing something over it, just on my demo, just so as I had a melody line for the vocals. So I just made anything that came out of my head, which I thought sounded a little bit like Thai. And my intention wasn't to keep it that way. It was just that just give me the melody, and I could write the lyrics to it later. Yep. And then I spent some time trying to write the lyrics for this song, and I couldn't find anything that would come up better than the way it sounded when I'd done it with the nonsense that I sang. So I stuck to it. I actually sang. I had to learn the nonsense, and then I had to go in the studio and sing it exactly as I'd done it on the demo, which took me ages because it didn't mean anything, you know.
Let's have a quick listen to the Dum Diddy Die one now.
Okay, great. Yeah.
That was Dum Diddy Die by Mark Foggo. Mark, what have you been doing during the lockdown? Obviously, different restrictions over there.
Yeah, they're not quite as bad, I think, as they are in Europe, because the numbers there are not so serious. I think in Thailand they've got 47, 48 have died, which is very low numbers compared with what's going on in Europe. But still, we have a lockdown, but the lockdown is from 10 o'clock in the evening till 4 o'clock in the morning. Well, there's not a lot of people going out then anyway, so that's not really affecting anything too much. And basically all I'm doing is really, I'm working on making little video clips like you'll see on YouTube. Yep. Little homemade video clips. I'm trying to do a video clip for every song on the album. It's a challenge, well, I've got nothing to do. Yep. And the rest of the time I'm going down the beach and having a swim and just
chilling out.
Yeah, doing what retired people do, you know.
So have you got so is there any plans for some new songs coming out or new releases of new albums?
Well, I haven't written anything new because the last album just came out last September, so I haven't really done anything on that. Mainly I've just been learning how to make video clips on the computer here, and I'm just keep knocking things together, short clips for some of the songs. I find it fun to do, and I get good reactions from people from them, so I think it's quite fun to do that. But if it goes on for a long time and I can't go out and about, I mean, the airports are closed here. I can't travel outside of the city I'm in, or town I'm in. So I'm quite restricted to what I can do here. So if it goes on a long time, I may start writing another album again. I've got ideas here, but I haven't really put any work into it yet.
So I had a viewer question while I was during the day. So one of the viewers' question was, how comes you don't come to the UK and play in the UK?
That's the question I get asked.
That's a small subject, but
it's not because I don't want to. It's mainly because I don't get asked to. I would definitely come. The last gig I played, I think, was about 2 years ago in Folkestone in the Scarborough Festival, I think it's called. I think that's the last gig I played. I have to say it didn't go down that well. I noticed there that most of the crowd there and everything were very much into the more skinhead reggae type ska music. So when I came out and did my manic high tempo ska set, I think people stood there looking in a state of disbelief. So
well, hopefully we'll change their ideas.
I hope so,
this will be the group, and obviously now that people obviously know who you are and obviously have a listen, hopefully we'll change their views.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, I mean, I'd like to come over and play the UK, but it's a matter of being invited to do it. So I've had a couple of people ask me to come and do it, but of course I need a few shows in a row to bring my band over from Holland. They all live in Holland, and so to bring the band over there and do the shows, I've got to get some, got to be able to get the costs out of it. So, but yeah.
Talking about gigs, then what gigs have we got lined up for this year? Obviously, after the lockdown happens, obviously.
Well, I had in April and the beginning of May, I had 15 gigs booked in Europe, and all of them cancelled, the whole lot. So that was going to be my sort of springtime tour. So that's gone. Through the summer, I've got about 10 festivals booked in Spain, Czech Republic, Germany, Holland, France. But none of those I don't think are going to go on. At least half of them have been cancelled already because you can't have big groups of people, so they're obviously not going to happen. So my next thing I have booked is in October when I've sort of rebooked the tour from April, but I'm not even sure that that's going to go on. But that's my next plan, is to come October and November, and do hopefully 15-20 gigs in Europe during that time. But that's on condition everything's up and running by then. But it's the same for everybody. Everybody's really in a bad situation at the moment. The music venues don't know what's happening in the future, so it's hard for them to book bands because they don't know whether they can put them on or not.
Yep. Right. Thanks for joining us this afternoon, Mark. Stay safe and good luck.
Yeah, thanks a lot, and to you and all your listeners too. Stay safe out there.
Thanks, Mark.